It's Friday, October 3rd, 2025, and this is the Washington Times front page. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The government shutdown has accelerated President Trump's efforts to fire federal workers, reduce spending, and eliminate programs. Jeff Murdoch, Lindsay McPherson, and Mallory Wilson report the president is blaming Democrats for any firings of federal employees or elimination of lawmakers' projects as a result of the shutdown. The president claimed he didn't want a government shutdown, but many observers suspect he did because it gives him the power to cut people and projects with which he disagrees. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is under pressure as Republicans try to portray him as the face of the shutdown, and Democrats expect him to deliver something that can be sold as a victory. The New Yorker has broad support from his caucus and House Democrats for his moves thus far, but he's under pressure to not let the shutdown end without a significant win. What a win looks like varies among Democrats, but their main unifying goal is to extend the party's pandemic emergency expansion of Affordable Care Act subsidies, which are set to expire this year. A Congressional Budget Office report estimates 750,000 employees could be furloughed during the shutdown, which would cost taxpayers $400 million in compensation per day for work not being done. Food and Drug Administration officials have approved another generic version of the abortion drug mifepristone, a regulatory formality that quickly triggered pushback from anti-abortion groups. Drug maker Avita Solutions announced on its website that the FDA signed off on its low-cost form of the pill, which is approved to end pregnancies through 10 weeks. Students for Life Action, which opposes abortion, in a statement called the approval a stain on the Trump presidency. Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri also criticized the move in a post on social media. The criticism comes as President Trump's top health officials, including Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., face growing pressure from abortion opponents to reevaluate mifepristone. The drug was approved 25 years ago and has been repeatedly deemed safe and effective by FDA scientists. President Trump has declared the United States is at war with drug cartels, deeming them terrorist organizations and their smugglers as unlawful combatants. Jeff Murdoch reports a memo was sent to several national security committees on Capitol Hill, saying the U.S. is in non-international armed conflict with designated terrorist organizations. Designating the cartels as being in armed conflict gives Trump wartime power to deal with what he has repeatedly called a threat to national security. By declaring it an armed conflict, like with al-Qaeda and other Islamist groups, the U.S. can lawfully kill enemy combatants, detain them indefinitely, and prosecute them in military tribunals. Democrats on several top committees have accused Trump of exceeding his authority by striking suspected drug smuggling vessels in the southern Caribbean. European law enforcement agencies are on alert as the Sinaloa cartel expands across the Atlantic. Joseph Hammond reports Polish law enforcement officials raided a methamphetamine laboratory linked to the North American cartel last month that authorities said was operating inside a country villa. Helicopter footage online shows police descending on the compound and uncovering an industrial-sized production facility. The seized liquid methamphetamine had an estimated street value of $1.63 million. The Police Central Bureau of Investigation announced that the seizure also included 3 tons of chemicals used in the process of creating the synthetic drug. And finally, Greenpeace is testing a new European law that protects public protesters from lawsuits in an effort to avoid some of the fines imposed by a U.S. jury for blocking construction of an American pipeline. Susan Ferricchio reports Energy Transfer won a $667 million verdict against Greenpeace in May over its year-long protests and other actions aimed at blocking its construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The amount, which has not been finalized by a judge and is under appeal, threatens to shutter the environmental activism organization, which has been operating since 1971. The organization's governing body, Greenpeace International, is seeking relief in a Dutch court. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.